So excited. Waiting on everyone to get here. Hello, hello. But I'm a little nervous, everybody. I'm just going to be honest. I'm a little nervous. So before we even start, I'm going to take some core roots again. Before we even start. Just a little bit. Core Roots is my favorite CBD, so they are sponsoring us today. Let me let Tammy in here. And thank you for coming to Mondays with MaryJade. All right. So I'm just waiting for Tammy, but she's great.
Hi. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a little less nervous now.
Yeah, I could feel you. I was like, oh no.
Oh, good. Oh, thank you for doing this for me. Thank you for coming on here. I'm just like, I'm so excited. I know you did a little story before, but like we met at what was that? Women Grow Leadership
Yeah,
Summit.
in
Oh my God.
Denver.
Three?
I think so. Almost 2.5 at least. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were featured in, because you know I have props, right?
Oh, yeah.
Then we were featured in Honey Pot, which is a magazine that Honeysuckle also does. And so Tammy had her feature right here.
Yes.
And I found out that she was in it because I was so excited that I had a feature
Yeah,
too.
I was excited when I saw that. Yeah.
So that was so cool. And now like we've come a very long way, and
Mhm.
you're doing really big things, and
Mhm.
I'm just so proud of you. I'm so glad that you were able to just really take that experience and just run with it, and you
Yeah.
didn't let anything stop you. So,
Amen. Likewise to you. I love seeing what you're doing and your growth and how far you've come as a person. It's exciting to watch your journey.
well, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Um, I had like so I guess we might have talked about this, but I guess for everybody else, like why did you pick the Cannabis Cutie as your name actually?
For me, I am very kind of like prefer being behind the scenes, not really one that desires or requires attention.
Mhm.
And I never led with what I look like ever. I always kind of wanted that to be a footnote.
Mhm.
So the Cannabis Cutie and the branding behind it was basically an act of defiance. It was a way of me leading and saying, you know what, I am an attractive woman and I am going to use that as, a weapon in my arsenal. And I am very heavily involved with cannabis and it's a huge part of my life. And it was something that I kept secret for 11 years. So with the Cannabis Cutie, that was just basically me saying, you know what, screw this. I'm cute. I use cannabis, and this is what I'm going to lead with for the first time ever.
Yes, that's what's up. Like, yeah, we are often like demonized for having any type of like sexual appeal. They want to treat it like it's like, oh, you have it so easy, or oh, it's just like she has no substance, and like that's the furthest thing
Yeah,
from the truth. Like,
yeah.
especially you are very, very smart. And actually, which let's talk about this now. So you're doing a book club? Like, what is this
Yes.
book club about? I'm so curious.
Yeah, so it's a cannabis book club, and basically, I love reading and I love reading books with other people. So I have all these cannabis books, and it's like, why not, invite others to read with me? And then also create a networking group within people in the cannabis industry, people who are curious about the industry, and also advocates who want to meet up and link up with other advocates. So it's basically a group. For that, people who are interested in elevated learning. We can be, smart, sesh, and have good elevated conversations. So that's kind of what I want to cultivate is just bringing like-minded individuals who are excited to learn and create that space.
All right. And is this like, is you're going to just be doing this virtually, or is this something like more local for you?
No, I'm going to be doing it virtually. That way, anybody who wants to participate can. It'll be every Thursday evening. we'll have, you know, week one, we'll read, you know, 59 pages, and then we'll talk about those 59 pages. I don't want to like throw a book out there and then expect everybody to kind of knock it out. So if we are able to, you know, just read a set of pages per week and then talk about it and then come back and then, you know, double down on that and, you know, just get different perspectives and, you know, hear from people who may have experience in whatever we're talking about. So I just think that there's so much out there that we can learn and that we can know. It's just, you know, kind of creating, again, that space, and it'll be, you know, Zoom or Google Meet where the space will be created, but there's no limit to who can join.
That's awesome. And I think that's a really cool precedent to set for people in the cannabis space. It's, you know, more than just we like smoking this plant where, you know, there's nothing wrong with adult use. You know, I'm a medical patient here in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like nice that people are continuing education, like, you
Yeah.
know, and it's
Yeah.
beyond just like, I like to feel euphoric. I like to be high. We're going to learn about this and we're actually going to contribute to society
Right.
and do things. So
Well, the
that's really
man
cool.
who can read and chooses not to read is no better than the man who can't read. So, you know, if you're going to be using this plant and you want to be advocating for it, you need to up your education game. And reading books is, you know, I have degrees and it's still my responsibility to continue educating myself even after these degrees because that information is not going to retain. So that's basically what this is kind of challenging people to, one, create a new habit. We're at home, we're hanging out, we're not doing much. So creating a new habit to, you know, help that brain power.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
definitely, you know, break that stigma. You know,
Yeah.
we can read books. We
Yes,
can read books.
we can.
We read more than just, you know, little things on the back of the rolling papers, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I wanted to talk about just well, in New Jersey we have legalization on the ballot, and I know that, you know, this is definitely something that you had been following because I even remember when I first met you, you were trying to get something started in Oklahoma. Was
Hmm.
that right? Yes.
Yes.
And like, how do you feel about I guess, this legalization effort? People are very here in New Jersey are just like, well, if there's no decrim, then we're not even interested in,
Hmm.
you know, adult use or anything like that.
Yeah.
How do you feel? You got any updates for me? Because I'm sometimes rather clueless when it comes to like the law.
So in New Jersey, I think there's not a lot of people that actually even realize that it's on the ballot. And I believe in New Jersey, it's on the backside of your ballots. And a lot of people don't even know there's a backside to the ballot. But New Jersey, it's kind of a big deal. It's going to completely change the market there. And then you think about, you know, PA in New York. They
Mhm.
don't have these programs. So what that's going to do is that's going to bring an influx of people and money to New Jersey. And then it's also going to force New York and Pennsylvania to kind of play ball, essentially.
Mhm.
It's, you know, the economy with the way that it is, you don't really want people leaving your state and
Yeah.
putting money elsewhere.
Mhm.
So, you know, New Jersey's kind of forcing the hand. I do have content coming out all of October, kind of breaking down the states. I don't have, you know, New Jersey in front of me, but that's one of the bigger ones to watch, I believe, for the election. I think that's kind of the state to be watching because it's going to affect so much up there. But yeah, without having decriminalization, you're not really fixing the problem, nor if you don't have social equity. I hate the term, it's so
Mhm.
overused. If you don't have reparations for the war on drugs, within the legislation, you're kind of missing the point.
Yeah.
Um, in this country, trying to promise reparations after the legislation has passed just historically does not work.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of why New York isn't, you know, where New Jersey is, because New York is saying, hey, without correcting what you guys did with the war on drugs, we're not interested, which is the right way to go.
Mhm.
So I think that decriminalization has to go with it.
That is that's really interesting that you said that because, you know, I would say that, you know, I had been reminding people, you know, about to vote on this, that is on the back of the ballot. So everybody, we're going to say it again, it's on the back of the ballot.
Hmm.
Fill it out.
Yeah.
um but that if you don't have those reparations, and I really like that terminology, that it's an afterthought and it may not be, accomplished. Or I totally, my naivety to the situation, like we're thinking that if we just at least get it in the door, we're going to be able to affect change so much. But with you saying that, just even our medical program, like we're paying sales tax on our medicine still, and now even in one of the townships, they're increasing the sales tax in regards to the medical program, which you shouldn't be paying tax on your medicine.
No.
So this is, that okay, that definitely is going to be something to watch out for, where that just, I was not even thinking that they were never able to do anything. I'm assuming that it's going to pass, but what
Hmm.
would be some ways that people could advocate for, that decriminalization? Like, what are some things that you do, or some organizations that you might even know of that might be able to help those efforts?
There's the Social Justice Impact group. There is the Last Prisoner Project. I mean, you could just basically read the new Jim Crow, and talk about, how many people are incarcerated because of cannabis. And if you have a legal cannabis market, why are people even still being arrested for something that's legal? And it is very skewed towards arresting people who happen to be poor or live in low income communities, which, people in the suburbs are using cannabis at the same rates, but police officers are not going and bugging people in the suburbs about their cannabis use. They're not. They're just
No.
simply not. So I would say just coming with the facts, and like look at how detrimental this is to people and their livelihoods. You're removing parents from households. You're affecting children and generations. Like
Mhm.
how contradictory is it to say it's legal but we can still get you in trouble for it? The state should be protecting you if they're giving you this right to cannabis.
Yeah, definitely. And it needs to
Hmm.
be over the amount of an eighth, because I know
Yeah.
that that's most of the, decriminalization that I've heard of, that, okay, well, if at least it's an eighth, you know, I'm sorry, but I need more than an eighth, guys.
People with chronic pain, an eighth is going to get them through a day or two, maybe. I mean, think about former athletes, former
Mhm.
football players. An
Yeah,
eighth is not going to get them through the day. They have
no.
way too much pain. And they're not using, a lot of football players are not using opiates. So cannabis, they're going to need lots of concentrates, edibles, flower, and, you know, seeing people suffer in New Jersey because of these limits on what you can buy per month. It's just, why don't you guys do that to opioids?
Yeah, right. They'll
Yeah.
be in such a rush. Well, we have all of the big pharma, like literally, like they just really came in and just took over the state, and it's a shame, because you can still have all of these pill mills, these doctors that are just pushing out opioids, but
Yeah.
they will be quick to close a cannabis clinic in a heartbeat, because they feel that people aren't regulating the amount of cannabis that is going to the patients. And what I think my prescription is 4 ounces a month. And if you take that into consideration, you said concentrates. So what,
Hmm.
1 gram of concentrate could be what, about an eighth or even more. Um,
Yeah.
Topicals,
Hmm.
I make topicals for myself. So, and then to pay 115 to $120 for a quarter. Your face.
Wow. Like I complain about California, but oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually on the cheaper end of the spectrum too.
Okay.
I remember I told a woman from Colorado, and she just was like, she lost her mind. She could
Yeah.
not believe this. I
That's
was like,
highway
yeah,
robbery. Yeah.
yeah, like about 400. It could be anywhere from 400 to $600 for an ounce. Like,
Oh my God.
what market are you targeting with that price point too? That's another thing I'd like to point out to people. Like, these prices weren't just selected at random. There is a targeted community for medical marijuana,
Hmm.
and it is not the inner city. It is
Hmm.
not the lower class, you know,
Yeah.
individuals.
Yeah.
It complete, like the war on drugs was just like an okay for the upper crust to profit off of this
Hmm.
medicine, this lifestyle. And you know, that's what breaks my heart. That's what makes it so sad, because I had even just, I was at one point going, well, maybe I would just leave New Jersey. Like, how am I going to afford this? And we only have flowers, and we have vape
Hmm.
cartridges now. So that $70 for a half, not even half a gram. It's what, 0.35 grams
Hmm.
in a cartridge here, because they consider that an eighth.
Wow. You could definitely tell that, you know, the people who are creating the laws don't have an understanding. Um, Cannabis, you can't overdose. Putting limits on it is doing what, really? Is it limiting overdoses? Because you're not going to overdose on cannabis. You know, are you sure that that patient, you know, has the amount of receptor sites where this limit is going to accommodate them for the entirety of the month? So there's clearly a lack of understanding when it goes into writing the laws. I believe it's Illinois that, you know, has different tax rates and prices for THC content, which is hilarious. You're taxing strawberries for being more red than other strawberries. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. It makes no sense. You know, when you smell cannabis and you're like, "Ooh, that's something that I like," you're not smelling the THC percentage, the CBD percentage. You're smelling the terpenes, the flavonoids, the things that are going to make you feel what you feel when you use it. So it's just hilarious how funny these laws are. And then you see CBN as legal cannabis, and I'm like, boy, if these lawmakers found out that it's THC before it's CBN, they would lose their minds.
Mhm.
If, you know, Delta 8, holy moly. I mean,
Mhm.
it's, you know, it's hilarious kind of seeing how contradictory some of the legislation that's written, and then how ignorant they are to how cannabinoids are made. And, you know, your drug dogs are never going to be able to distinguish between hemp and cannabis because, again, THC doesn't have a scent.
Yeah.
So good luck, guys. I don't know what to tell you, but
That's actually one of the biggest things, is that you know, I've helped, you know, a couple CBD stores with marketing and whatnot, but that people would come in and be like, how did the police know that this is hemp? Like, how do they know that there is no THC? Like, the bag?
the label, that's it.
Like, but that's why it's so important to just have these legalization efforts, because there's just so much time wasted
Hmm.
on, you know, cannabis. Just, oh, I smelled something. I can smoke a really good CBD flower and it will
Yeah,
smell no different than THC flower. So it
exactly.
I would love to be able to be like a tester, like if there's ever a way to like differentiate, because I would love that job
Well,
to.
somebody has to train our law enforcement on the difference between cannabis and hemp and why their drug dogs will never ever be able to get it right. I think that's kind of a big part of the issue, and why, you know, hemp farmers, you know, don't even feel secure because nobody is, you know, properly educating our police officers in, you know, it even takes, you know, an expert to kind of be able to tell the difference between a hemp plant and some sativa plants. So it's just, we have such a big issue with these legalization happening. Our lawmakers need to be educated, our law enforcement needs to be educated, or else there's going to be just a huge disconnect and a misunderstanding. You know, the fact that a lot of people don't know that hemp is just a legal word, and that there's no difference between hemp and cannabis. It's all cannabis.
Mhm.
um, and yet they're able to make rules around this stuff is just crazy. You know,
Yeah.
it's mind blowing that they can make medical decisions with these laws without fully understanding the medicine.
Yeah.
It should be illegal. Yeah.
It really should, because it's not it, and just the idea of, even I believe here in New Jersey, they try to say that, you know, if you've medicated, I think we're one of the unique states where you can actually medicate outside of the home. Technically, anywhere it is a
Legal to
smoking.
smoke cigarettes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oklahoma as well. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Great. I gotta go to
Mhm.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So that is something that I get asked a lot. But then still, it's, well, you're intoxicated. it's no different if somebody had to take, you know, their heart medicine or their insulin or something
Hmm.
like that to be able to function to get through the day.
Yeah.
If they're noticeably intoxicated and they're going crazy, whatever, that's one thing. But if
Hmm.
you are using this to achieve, you know, an intention and it's achieved, then there's no, like, how does this officer get to tell me what
Why does
I'm
he get
doing?
to judge my health care? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
why do
And
I get to be punished for how I
no,
choose to heal my body?
he was a rent-a-cop. I will give him that. But he came up to a car. I pulled over in a parking lot, and I was having I think I was having an anxiety attack, and I started smoking. I had the windows up, everything far away, nobody there. He knocks on it, the window. He goes, "Oh, you know, you can't be doing that here. That's illegal." And I'm like, "I have a medical card." And he's like, "No, I mean New Jersey. I don't care where you." I was like, "New Jersey medical card." And he's
Hmm.
like, "Oh my God. Oh, you must be terminal or something because that's the only reason why you'd be able to get your card. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Your life must be so hard." And it just was so condescending. And so that was one of the weirdest situations ever, that I was just being questioned. Like, I'm already having a panic attack. You got sirens behind me.
Yeah.
You're knocking on the window.
Yeah.
And then you're beating me. You
Yeah.
know? Like, just a
Yeah.
hair bit of education would have made all the world a difference, you know,
Yeah.
in a situation like that. Like, God forbid, you don't know what people are going through. And cannabis is not just always for physical ailments, or, you know, pain and that type of maladies. It's mental, like
Yeah.
mental, like that was the whole thing. THC helped me a great deal with my pain, but another plug, CBD
Yes.
helped a lot with me. I haven't taken any Xanax it's been
Yeah.
6 years now. I haven't taken any
Amazing.
Xanax in 6 years.
Yeah. CBD has a positive relationship with our serotonin receptors.
Yes.
What a lot of these pharmaceutical companies like to make you believe that depression is a serotonin issue, and it's not.
Mhm.
Depression is a lot of things. It's not just a chemical imbalance, but chemicals can be part of the reason, and CBD has a positive relationship with your serotonin levels. It's not going to
Mhm.
just say, all right, let's increase them. It's going to be able to say, all right, we need to, either increase or we just need to stop. CBD is very, very smart with your body. And I think, people who do suffer from depression should have the option of trying a plant medicine that is known for helping people with depression and anxiety. At
Mhm.
times, THC can make it worse. But
Mhm.
CBD is absolutely a great alternative to some of these pharmaceuticals that are detrimental
Yeah.
to your health. And then they make, one medicine for everybody, one size fits all, and it's not going to fit all. So some people are going to take these medicines and get worse.
Yes.
To be
Yeah.
depressed and take a medicine that's going to make you more depressed is what?
And then you get a side effect. So we have to give you this other medicine for the five
Right.
side effects from that medicine. I used to take antidepressants when I was young, and I remember the doctor. I got escorted out of the doctor's office by security, mind you, afterwards. But I gained 60 pounds in
Oh,
1 month. 60 pounds in 1 month when they tried a new medication on me. I came in, I told the doctor, she's like, "That's all in your head." Like, I'm not too sure that you know, that's all in my head, and maybe you need to go back to school. So, she called security and had me removed. But but to think now, like back, like, wow, imagine being able to have spoken to my parents or something like that and said that, this CBD, maybe try this first.
yeah.
This might have helped. And I'm actually, that, even if it not for me, but for all the people now, that they actually do have that option. Um, we're talking about CBD so much, but what should people be looking for? And I know the answer to this as well, but when they're purchasing CBD and not purchasing it at a gas station,
Oh yeah.
please.
Well, don't ever purchase your CBD at a gas station. I just don't know why people do that at all. You want to make sure it has a COA, and that just means that there's some type of analysis, a certificate of analysis that shows what is in your CBD. If there are anything like lead or heavy metals and you see a fail, stay away from it. And also verify that the label in the company matches that COA, because sometimes companies are using fake ones. Make sure that they match. Also, if you're not having any success with isolates, some people just don't have success with isolates, make sure you're finding CBD that has terpenes added to it, or other cannabinoids, at least 1 milligram of THC if it's not working as an isolate, because you have this plant with hundreds of chemicals and flavonoids and terpenes and cannabinoids, and then we just try to take just boop, one, and we say, go do everything that this plant can do, and then it doesn't work. And people are like, why doesn't it work? Because this one thing that you pulled, it also needs some of its supporting cast members to be able to be effective. So that's just kind of my advice. If it's an isolate and it's not working, don't do it. And then if you have CBD with terpenes and other chemicals added to it, it's going to be better. Sorry, I just got a message I was trying to ignore, got distracted. But yes, the test. You want to make sure that your CBD has been tested, because CBD, hemp and cannabis, is what's called a bioregulator. So it's going to pull all the nasty stuff in the soil out, radiation, hard metals, heavy metals. And some people use these plants to clean their soil, and then they make oil with it, and then they sell it. So you need to make sure you are checking your hemp and cannabis, because it's going to clean the soil. You don't want bad CBD in your body. It will make you sick.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of the COA, most bottles should have this by now. Again, plugging for Roots again. But there is a QR code that should be on the bottle, which should lead to those lab test results, should lead to all things that you need to know, all the levels. In the CBD that you're purchasing, in the stores, everything. If you're not in a legal state, if you're in a prohibition state, I should say, you're not going to find full spectrum because it's not legal. But if you do have the option, then you, like you said, like at least I usually did a 1-to-1 ratio. That's how I started when I tried it in Denver. And once I realized like that is a world of difference, it's like game on, we're doing this. So I also just wanted to talk about terpenes for a second.
Yes.
I find that those are very important for people, just kind of helping people use cannabis to understand that these terpenes are going to affect you differently. So like you have your cannabinoids, you have your flavonoids, you have these terpenoids. And there is a host of them that make you feel different ways. And do you have any particular cannabinoids? Terpenes that you like to lean towards for certain things that ail you or anything like that?
So there's a terpene that I kind of try to stay away from during the day, and it's limonene. Typically limonene gives people energy, but for whatever reason it makes me lethargic and I don't have a lot of energy. But my favorite terpene is myrcene, and that's going to help me because I have high anxiety and high energy. So maybe limonene is just a little bit too much and I crash, but myrcene actually kind of calms me down and I'm able to focus so much better instead of kind of like here, there. I have to do this, I have to do this. Oh yeah, I need to do this. I need to, and then the myrcene is just kind of like a deep breath. So that's my favorite terpene, but for a lot of people, it can be highly sedative for them. Like it can make them sleepy.
Yeah, that's the, everybody hears the tale of the mangoes, eating mangoes, before or after you've smoked, if it's something that had a high myrcene content. And I don't know if I necessarily have noticed it. I know that I enjoyed the mangoes either way. They're very good.
Who's to know?
Anyway, for general health. But it's really funny you also said that about the limonene, because I had a theory about that it actually causes some type of adrenal fatigue if you're somebody who's already high anxiety. and it'll
I'm writing this
kind of,
down.
yeah, yeah, because I'm
Because I
very
think that's me.
yeah, so adrenal fatigue is basically, right above your kidneys, you have your adrenals, and it's basically the it's going to spike your adrenaline or whatever it may be. But we're constantly on high alert. So we just like, I am a caffeine person. I'm already an anxious person. So for me, when I have like they had this Nigerian haze here that was supposed to make people, was it so sleepy, and it would wake me up. It was the
Yeah.
complete opposite, and they couldn't figure it out. But I'm very much like, oh, well, give me a limonene and I will pass out. Like,
Yeah, likewise.
like, yes. And everyone's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I can't help you. I can't give you a recommendation.
Yeah.
But it basically just means that it maxes out your adrenals and you basically crash. You
Wow.
are just tired. You're
Yeah.
done. You're done. And that's why I feel that it affects, you that way.
Yeah.
So there's no specific science behind it. I haven't done any type of research. It's just other than me having this knowledge. But
Yeah.
if anybody wants to look into it, if there are any chemists are out there, please.
Yeah. Well, for there, I noticed in the comments people are saying that they don't have it listed in their cannabis in different states. And even in California, a lot of companies still don't list the terpenes. That's something that you have to figure out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You can find a list of terpenes online, and then you
Mm-hmm.
can, I mean, you don't even need to know the name of the terpene. Smell your cannabis and then see how it affects you. You'll start to realize, oh man, citrus smelling stuff makes me sleepy or it gives me energy. Things that smell like gas, make me happy and giggly, or it makes me feel kind of depressed. This is where you have to do the work because unfortunately in America, it is illegal. That means that in its Schedule 1, which means we can't research any of this to tell you. And even, cannabis companies that are putting, this is going to make you happy. This is going to you still have to be your own doctor here. You have to figure out what helps you when. If I want to go to sleep, I smoke something that is sweet smelling. If I want energy, I need it to be earthy, musky, pungent. So if you don't have these terpenes listed, don't worry, most of us don't. That's just where you have to play doctor for yourself.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
that's the best part about cannabis is that you're not gonna die. You're
No,
you're 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 not you're gonna be very uncomfortable maybe. You
you'll
might
feel like you're
scream.
going to die if it's edibles.
But yeah, but
You
you're not
won't.
like you're not gonna die though.
Yeah.
Like that's the best part. It's you can't sit there and go, I wonder how many Percocet um I can take. Should I like no, we're not gonna guess at all with that. But really with just the simple taste testing of
Yeah.
cannabis. And really, I think this is something that people don't do. And I really enjoyed this about my first medical doctor was the journaling
Yes.
of your cannabis. Like
Yes.
really write it down, write how you were
Ooh,
feeling.
yes.
Um, write,
So
oh, do you,
I
you have
have
one?
a journal.
You have a
Shameless
journal.
plug, but I love this company, Gold Leaf. And this is a blank one. I wouldn't, but it has like a list of terpenes, their smells, their effects. So there's education and then journaling. So they're going to ask you what your symptoms are, what your dosage was, what was, the strain, where did you buy it, how much did you use, what type of consumption. And then it's going to ask, how you felt before and after. So that way you can figure it out. There's no guessing game. You can say, you know what, as I look back, this strain made me feel this way and I smelt these notes. So that's kind of how you figure it out for yourself. So I do have like a discount code on my page if you go to the link in my bio, but I would recommend this to anybody who is serious about figuring out how cannabis affects them intuitively. That way you can tell your doctor,
Yeah.
this is how this affects me so that you guys aren't just guessing. Nobody should just be guessing with this anymore. We're getting too far and understanding too much. And until the science can participate, we have to be our own scientists.
Yes,
So
and I
yeah.
think that's crucial. That's crucial. You can
Mhm.
get that at the link in Tammy's bio. She has
Yeah,
a
Gold
discount
Leaf. I
code.
have a
Yeah.
discount code. The name of the company is Gold Leaf, and they have
Mhm.
patient journals. They have cooking journals. They even have a sex and intimacy journal. They have all types of journals to help you figure out how cannabis affects you. So yeah.
Yeah, That's awesome.
Mhm.
And it's really important for you to advocate for yourself in this space and just understand that. I think this also brings to light that your doctor doesn't know everything and is not you. You
Mhm.
know, it's called the practice of medicine for a reason.
Mhm.
They're practicing
Right.
on you.
Right.
So if you can come to the table and give them precise information that
Mhm.
may help somebody else, do it. Do not be afraid to speak up. If
Mhm.
they're already, you know, cool enough
Yeah.
to be part of the medical program, then they should be more than receptive to any information
Mhm.
that you are providing
Yeah.
them.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely. Yeah.
definitely a thing. Oh, I had a whole bunch of topics. So actually, what do you prefer THC for? We talked about all this other stuff.
What do I prefer THC for? Parenting, I think that I am so much more into the cartoons and getting into like the imaginative worlds when I use THC. And it also helps me post workout.
Mhm.
And I love it to help me sleep as well. And then for pain, I live a very active lifestyle. Like I said, I have a lot of energy and I have to get it out. So
Mhm.
aches and pains just kind of come with the territory.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you just asked about actually about menstruation pain. And that is something that as women,
Yeah.
you know, we do deal with. And what I actually do, I use THC for that very purpose. So I have a topical application that I use as well as everybody kind of a little freaks out when I say this. I infuse tampons.
Oh no, that actually, they're in the UK, they have infused tampons. And
Ooh.
these infused tampons knock out endometriosis pain within 15 minutes.
Yes, and
And
I
that's because
completely.
on most of our CB1 receptors in our bodies, people think it's our brain, but the most abundant place where your CB1 receptors are going to be located if your woman is on your uterus. And it's quite hilarious that we can't figure out PCOS, endometriosis, fibroids, all the issues that we deal with, and we're basically ignoring these receptor sites. So I think suppositories are a great way to deal with
Mhm.
menstrual pain or PMS. They have CBD suppositories, they have THC suppositories, or you infusing tampons, which they exist in different countries, just not here yet, is brilliant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and let me make everybody uncomfortable a little bit more and talk about suppositories. But you know, suppositories are not just for menstrual pain. If you're somebody who has even restless leg syndrome, you might have had like a spinal cord injury, things like that, inserting a suppository rectally can help a great deal. You know, there is an individual that I know that's a patient and he uses it for prostate cancer. So it's we don't talk about it, but it's
Yeah.
there. It's definitely an option, and people need to understand like it's more than just smoking it. Like
Yeah. It's medicine.
it, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. As much as I do enjoy smoking
Yeah.
it, I enjoy all of the applications, and they all serve their different functions.
Yeah.
I personally use THC for these long hikes that I go on. It just helps me free my mind a bit. It helps the pain levels in my legs, so that's totally non-issue. And just
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful for cannabis that it really, really, really has changed my life. I would not be sitting here. Neither of us would be
Either
sitting
of us,
here.
correct. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I
it's even, I think people discount it for its spiritual practice. It is probably what connected me back to being a spiritual person and having peace and having an open mind and acceptance and being able to be a positive person. And cannabis history is rich with religious sacrament as well. So, you know, getting out into nature and being one with the use of the plant, um, I think is also exactly how it's intended to be used too.
Yeah, it's a ritual. The whole idea behind rolling your own.
Hmm.
It it is you're honoring the plant in every step. You're
Hmm.
just breaking it up. You're placing it in, you're taking your time, and then you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
And it really is, it's like the fruit of the gods. It
Yeah.
just that and psilocybin, but we're not talking about psilocybin. Try to always just kind of
Yeah, yeah. Listen, these plants were all placed here. Um,
Mhm.
so I don't believe that they're meant to be demonized or evil just because we don't that's just something that we humans have to stop doing, demonizing things just because we don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. And I
Yeah.
actually, let me see. I think somebody said you ever take breaks to gain clarity or perspective. Um,
Tolerance breaks. Woo, tea
mm,
breaks. I should probably do more tea breaks, but I don't.
mhm.
Um, Yeah, I mean, I done one in 2018 and I was quite annoyed. I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And it was so that I could potentially pass a drug test, which was hilarious. I took like a 4-day break and I still tested the max NGL. So I was like, it was for my life insurance, but I would say tolerance breaks are probably super necessary to reset your receptors. I could probably do better at that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just, at least for sleep, if
Yeah,
I don't get a chance to use all day long, at least for sleep, I'm going to.
yeah.
Yeah.
The tolerance breaks are super difficult. I'm just not gonna even lie to anybody.
Yeah.
Like I did. I don't know if you remember. I did a day tolerance
I
break.
remember I sent you a package like the next day. I was like, no, this is not okay. This is not okay.
That was an experience and a half. But even that day made all the difference. And sometimes it's not even about resetting your tolerance level. It's about determining your usage and your behavior with
Yeah.
it. Because if you find that you're just like, that was my thing, I would have an ounce here and I would just smoke all day. And then I'm like, well, why am I not feeling anything? Like what's going on? And so then you're like, oh, I'm just gonna change to a different cultivar.
Yeah.
And it made no difference either. So I had to take that. I had to advocate for myself. I had to parent myself and be like, all right, well, maybe if you smoke 10 joints in one day,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was definitely a learning lesson. I don't know if I probably could go longer than a day,
Yeah, the
maybe.
recommended is 72 hours. And then when you
Oh.
do come back at that 72nd hour, you only smoke until you're high and then you stop. And then you slowly kind of ease your way. But then by the third day, you can kind of go resume back to normal. But it's definitely to kind of like reset those receptors and kind of give them a break. But the recommended is 72 hours. I
Yeah.
learned that from the Doc's Knox, and I was like, my kids would have to be somewhere else in order for me to complete this because with the way Common Core math is set up, I cannot take
Oh,
any breaks
yes,
right
yes,
now.
yes, yes, yes. Yes, I saw your post about that a couple weeks ago. Yes, I did.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's actually, it's funny that you say that because cannabis helps parents be great parents. We're all human. I personally do not have children, but I've worked with people to help them get their medical card because they're like, I can't, I have, maybe a bipolar disorder or just a mood disorder of some sort.
Hmm.
And I take it out on my child. I can't help it. And I can't even imagine now, this was prior to COVID. So now
Oh wow.
you're the teacher, you're the,
Hmm.
recess, you're the lunch lady, you're, your mom then on top of
Hmm.
it. And you have to work. So
Yeah.
it's like, how are you maintaining that sanity? And I think that that's something that we really should just like kind of not demonize
No.
um, people for being cannabis using parents. It's
Mm-mm.
it's not endangering your children.
Right.
Uh, you're not, it's about your character. If you
Yeah.
were going to neglect your children and be a bad parent, you were going to do that despite the cannabis usage.
Correct.
So we're not going to even blame that on the plant.
Yeah,
That's a
we
cop.
can't blame substances for people's behavior. We just
Yeah.
can't. I honestly wish my mom would have smoked cannabis when I was growing up. She was stressed the F out, raising twins as a single parent,
Yeah.
so, and that's something me and my twin, we always laugh about. We wish she was smoking weed because she probably would have been a bit more tolerable. And she probably, wouldn't have been so irritated all the time. But I'm even honest with my kids about it. Like, yeah, it's something that it helps mommy calm down. Sometimes, a fourth grader and a kindergartner, being stuck in the house now for over 6 months, it can be a
Mhm.
lot. So I'm very honest, but my kids have also seen, me take a seed and plant it and watch a plant grow with just sunlight and water. So there,
Mhm.
when the dare police officer does go to their school, good luck trying to influence my daughter because she knows better. She's seen, this cannabis plant grow next to her herb plant and next to her, pepper plant.
Mhm.
Nothing was different. Why are the peppers not evil, but this plant is evil? And, and I explained to her, this can make topicals. This can make, cannabis medicine for mommy. I can cook with this. There's people who have cancer that can eat after they consume this. So, I'm very open and honest with my kids and my usage. The one thing that I don't do is get intoxicated around them. And for me to get intoxicated with cannabis, that's going to need to be edibles where I'm just completely gone and cannot help them.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, if wine is okay, drinking alcohol is okay around our kids, and putting poison in our body, then we kind of really need to fall back on the parents that choose to use cannabis.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was the video of a dad who was telling his was it a 3-year-old, oh, go to the beer me, and having his 3-year-old son go and get it. I'm not saying that you should be doing that with joints or whatever,
Yeah,
but that's
no,
how
God, no. Yeah.
harmful alcohol is that you drink it, they'll be having a glass of wine at dinner, or even think like Thanksgiving. People are having drinks, with their dinner, and there's children around, and people are notably drunk and
Yeah.
intoxicated and things like that. So why is that okay, but something that you needed just to take the edge off a little bit because you have social anxiety or your stomach's upset or
Or you're a
you
mother with epilepsy.
oh my gosh, yes. Oh yes. That
Exactly. Yeah.
like how is that even like why would you even like need to question that? Like it's just sad that people don't think of these things, that it's just this, oh well, they want to be high. And you
Yeah,
know what?
well, exactly. The indoctrination there is so deep. I mean, even people who are like, I can't believe you would do something like that. It ruined my fill in the blanks life. And it's hard for me to say, there's probably something else that ruined their life.
Mm-hmm.
And their cannabis use and the abuse of it is just a symptom of the thing that ruined their life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, People give too much credit to a plant,
Yeah.
for being this all powerful, mighty, destructive thing when you just really have to stop and think about this is just a plant
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
it.
That's all it is. You hang it, dry it, and use it.
Yeah.
Um, why is alcohol? Yeah, yeah, it all just has to do with this reefer madness, just all of this, just sensationalism about racist agendas and monetary things that just have nothing to do with the reality,
Yeah.
nothing, and don't even pertain to anything anymore. And the fact that these legalization efforts so hard right now to have this plant. Sorry, the CBD is kicking in again. um, that we're having these legalization issues, and it was all because all these companies and everything. Like even what is it? Can't think of the paint company, but they were one of the
DuPont?
ones. Yes, they did not want cannabis because hemp was the threat. And now, don't we wish that we had all this hemp to reverse all of this global warming? Don't
Yeah.
we wish that we had this hemp to save the environment?
Yeah,
And
there's a lot that went into it. I mean, Harry Anslinger, he was a failed alcohol prohibitionist, so he went after cannabis, which he knew wasn't an issue, but man, when you allow leaders with egos have their way, holy moly.
sounds
So
familiar.
So, completely went after a plant, an innocent plant, and they knew that it was harmless. Cannabis was in our United States pharmacopoeia up until 1942. It was a legitimate medicine. And, once they started calling it marijuana, a lot of Americans didn't even know that this marijuana that these Mexicans were smoking and these black people were smoking to get white women to sleep with them, they had no idea that it was the same thing as their cannabis. So the indoctrination there is pretty deep with it. It still exists. Undoing it is going to take a lot of work. But again, that starts with self-education. And unfortunately, a lot of people have to find out the hard way. Either they're really sick and on their deathbed, or somebody that they love is. And then they learn that it's beneficial. But until then, that indoctrination is so effective. It's so
And
effective.
even with people who approach me and they want help becoming medical people, I don't want to get high. I'm not trying to get high. What do you think that Prozac does? What do you think that antidepressants do? They
Yeah.
cause euphoria. What
Yeah.
is wrong with euphoria? Like,
Yeah.
why is this like the stigma against being high? Like, why would you want to be depressed all day?
Maybe even people who have never been high, who have been taught that being high makes you look. You remember the commercials. This is your brain on drugs, and this is, for me, I thought the same thing. I did not touch cannabis until I got to college, and it took, me getting a 0.8 GPA my freshman year and doing nothing, and the pothead on my floor getting a 3.6 GPA, and me being like, how did you do that? So just kind of believing that it takes over your mind and it damages your brain. Like, that belief and being high is just this awful, awful thing until you realize, like, a runner's high and a THC high are the same damn thing. They
Yeah.
feel the same. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's exercising and cannabis usage. Oh,
They pair
that.
so well.
Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah.
I wish
So
I would have
well.
discovered that.
Yeah.
They used to hate me in the gym parking lot because I would
Come and smell like a pound.
like, I'm in the back corner in my car smoking it up, and then I'm just coming in and I'm killing it. But then after a while I realized it was because I reeked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I reeked.
Yeah.
But it made me so productive. That was just like, that's the best. And especially if it's a social anxiety, a social aspect that you're like, okay, I could get out of my head a little bit and just maybe
Yeah.
crush a few more reps or anything like that. But you're totally right about that runner's high and that
Hmm.
THC
Yeah.
high. And sometimes it might be too much. So what do I
Hmm.
do? Take some CBD. Okay.
Yeah. If it's too much, take some CBD. Yeah. Yes.
I fulfilled all the sponsorship duties.
I love it. You did great.
All right. Oops, sorry. All right. So we are coming down to the end of everything. I just want to remind everybody that you are having your book club. If you could just tell them how to find out more and when everything is going to happen.
So enrollment is starting this Thursday, October 8th. And then we will have an informational coming up, and then the book club will start Thursday, October 22nd. So the informational is going to be October 15th, the week before. But yeah, open enrollment begins Thursday. We'll have that free informational. Anybody can join. And it's going to be a great time. There will be cannabis professionals, there will be advocates. I'm hoping to bring in people to also speak and do giveaways and all types of fun stuff. I really want this to be an elevated experience for everyone.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm gonna check it out as well because that sounds super cool. I can't say that I've heard of people really doing book clubs like that.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really enjoying that idea. And just again, guys, if you would like to try CBD,
Ooh, core roots, core
core
roots.
root CBD. I first originally started using CBD. I started using Charlotte's Web. Charlotte's Web is wonderful. It was really helpful. It helped me stop taking Xanax. Couldn't afford it. So I actually started taking Core Roots instead. The bottle is double the size. It costs just the same price. And if you ever want to try it, you can use code RXMaryJade to save on your order. The link is in my bio, coreRootsForLife.com.
Yeah.
So now we've plugged everything successfully. Thank you so much again. Thank you for helping me calm down.
Yes. You did great. It was so good to talk to you. And I love how full circle all of this is, just meeting you in Denver and kicking it with you the whole time and to today. So yeah.
It's awesome. So thank you so much. I'll be watching you, do big things and even bigger things. And maybe we'll have you come back. And just to let everybody know, and maybe you want to tune in. So the next edition, we're going to be doing something for spooky season because Halloween's coming up. And a little thing you don't know is that maybe you do, I'm into tarot and astrology. So we're going to have a special guest come on. And that. And I can't wait. I'm going to announce it later. But everybody just stay tuned. You're really going to love it. And thank you again, Tammy. So happy.
Thank you,
and
Jade.
Thank you, Honeysuckle, for making this happen. I love it. Until next time.
Yes, until next time. Bye.
Same bat time, same bat channel.